Welcome to the Dynasty Stock Market with big, just Bigz. I'm all by myself today. Dynasty F Key Alex is out and about, doing his thing, living his life, and so it's just me holding it down today. Going on a little bit late. March 18th. Uh, there's a reason for that. So yeah, I am going to be running an 8-round, 30-second clock Dynasty Startup Superflex tight end premium PPR draft. If you want to get involved, go to my Twitter page at BigBonedFFB. Go to the topmost posts, and there will be a link. We need three people in. As soon as we get those 3 people in, we are going to go run it and see where player values are at in the dynasty space pre-NFL draft. We got Jamie. He's here. Big game, Jane. Big game, Jane. He is in the draft room. So yeah, and if you are watching and you are in the draft room and you want to get this thing started, go ahead and send out the invites. I hit up a couple of my big boards that can get a draft room filled pretty fast, as well as Twitter. So yeah. We got Brocal 44 here. He's a very loyal mock drafter. That dude is in everything all the time, and good to see him. California 5 Cool running with the Jaden Daniels avatar. Dustin is here. All 22 FF. One of my news desk compatriots. Lentis 443. Jamie Buff, not the real Shia LaBeouf. He's always in the mock drafts. Nimrod 90. And sell you. See him all the time. And Jay Farr. So we are almost ready to go. We just need 2. We need 2 people. And I'd prefer not to go with the auto picks. So where are you guys at? What are you feeling in dynasty startups right now? I have a feeling I know where Jaden Daniels is going to go. Probably the 102 here. Go ahead and jump in the comments. Who do you think is rising? Basically, the way that this mock is set up is we're just going to fill out the starting rosters. We got a quarterback in a super flex spot, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end. It shouldn't take us too long on a quick clock to get through the rounds. And Jamie says quarterback and wide receiver heavy. Okay, that's a strategy. It is tight end premium. We're going to roll with the 1.5. That seems pretty standard. DFK says fire. Yeah, I want to get these last 2 filled. And get this thing started. I think I'm, I don't want to give up too much of my draft strategy. It looks like LaBeouf, Jamie. Looks like Jamie is gonna be taking a quarterback here in this first round. Yeah, does the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase signing, does that change anything? Does the Geno Smith trade to the Raiders, does that change anything? It certainly does for me. I'm really loving over on Underdog. I play a lot of fast draft, but on Underdog anyway, stacks are a thing, and I've been stacking Brock Bowers with my first pick, Geno Smith, Jacoby Myers, and Trey Tucker, and it's been pretty nice. I think that there's a lot of value there because you can get Geno very late. You can get Trey Tucker in the last round, and I'm on record as saying that he's going to have a pretty big season. Here we go. We are completely full. Sorry, Selly, you are going to get sniped for the Jaden Daniels. Selika. So Brocal 44 is on the clock. Let's see where he goes. And I'm going, oh, Samwise is in the building. Samwise in the house. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Let me get out of this thing. Boom, we're done. Sam, go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know where your stuff is at.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Sam. I go by Samwise. You can find me at Buy and Sell You on Twitter. I write and edit for IBT Media. I'm part of the Dynasty Degens. And we'll have a redraft show starting this fall.
Nice. Dynasty Degens, most recent partner with Player Profiler. So welcome.
That's right.
Welcome to the squad. And Jaden Daniels goes, and we kind of knew that was going to happen.
Right.
You got a Jaden Daniels avatar, and you pick the 102 in a draft where you get to pick your draft spot. You're taking Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
We got Chase, we got Allen, and now we got Jamie. Jamie's probably going to take Deshaun Watson. Oh, I thought he was going to take Deshaun Watson first. You fooled me, Jamie. So how you been, Samwise? We haven't talked really since the Dynasty Football Expo. Samwise is one of the guys in the mock draft groups, and we run a ton of Scott Fishbowl stuff, and that's how we came across each other, was doing a bunch of Fishbowl goings on.
Absolutely.
And we are going quarterback heavy. I'm Jamie was kind of right on with that. What is your, without giving anything away, what are you looking at in this first round?
Well, I mean, I don't usually go quarterback off the bat. I'd be tempted to here just because they're flying off the board. I think it's going to kind of depend on this pick here, to be honest with you. Yeah, because you already got Allen and Burrow's the only non-mobile off the board so far, but rightfully so given the season he had last year. Well, let's see.
Are you going to time out, Sam?
Nah. Well, I thought I wasn't.
Okay.
Well,
that's all right. That's my namesake, Jameer Bigz. Dustin on the clock.
I actually was gonna go. I was gonna go CD there because I'm looking for him to have a big bounce back this season, having Dak for the whole year.
Yeah.
And I had the two of them together a couple years ago, and just
no. So my plan is, so I went with the 111.
Yeah.
It looks like I really can't go further than the 110 because my plan is to grab Bowers and Neighbors to start off in the first two rounds. And I knew as soon as Dustin was on auto pick and Bowers was the top of the queue, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Part of the reason I took 9 was because I thought Bowers could possibly make it back to me.
And Lamb could have. Yeah, I am all in on Bowers as a first rounder this year. And Coach says, does Ladarius Shadarius make it past the 1-2 turn? Looks like he did. And third round reversal, that's the best way. You know how I do things, Jamie. I know what I'm doing.
You know how I do?
Basically, yeah. So yeah, I am all in on Brock Bowers in the first round, especially in startups, especially in Superflex, but pretty much everywhere. Like I'm doing it in best ball, I'm doing it in Dynasty. And as a Raider fan, it makes me feel good that I finally again have somebody who's
Right.
up there that that is a first round, because it's been a while.
Yeah, last year for Scott Fish, when I do the Scott Fish Bowl, I just draft the team I want, whether I think they can win or not.
Yeah.
I just about got laughed out of the building because I went bully tight end to start that draft. And honestly, I went McCaffrey first, and I went 3 straight tight ends, and I wanted to make sure Bowers was one of them.
Yeah.
And my tight ends all pretty much performed except McCaffrey getting hurt just kind of sunk me.
Yeah, I wound up putting way too much stock into the Jaguars triumvirate. And that is not Brian Thomas Jr. That was Evan Ingram, Justin Herbert, and Travis Etienne. I
Right.
had them across so many different, and all of them just kind of sunk throughout the year. So that was bad. That was not fun.
There goes Knicks off the board.
Yeah, Knicks is an interesting one. Can he repeat his top 10 season? I think he can. They're likely going to go out and draft a wide receiver in the first round. Oh, it's my pick. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, Dustin's back.
Yeah. I like I hate Bo Nix, but I like him as a dynasty quarterback. He has pretty good value, and at this point, it looks like he is quarterback 10. So that portends a top 10 finish. And Dustin says, "Sorry, guys, he doesn't have to worry about it."
I'm not a Kyler Murray fan, and it seems like every draft I get into, he falls right to me. And it's not because nobody wants him. It's just I don't luck of the draw, I guess. And every year, I swear I'm not taking him ever again.
Yeah.
And every year, I still do.
Yeah. So I am on record on this show, especially, as saying that I'm a Trey McBride truther, but Marvin Harrison Jr. he'll never reach his ceiling until Kyler Murray is not the quarterback in Arizona anymore.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think Marvin Harrison can do better than he did last year. They're really being curious about the kind of way that they're designing his routes, and it's not natural, when you're just going to have a guy run a go route every time, and the defense knows he's going to run a go route every time, then you're not using him to his full advantage.
Right. And then on top of that, you add the fact that you have Kyler scrambles, and when he's doing that, he has a hard time seeing Harrison. He seems to find McBride, but he can't find Harrison. And maybe that's a relationship thing. Maybe that's a height thing. We don't know.
Maybe it's because he's 4'7",
right? Right. So yeah, I just have such a hard time with Marvin Harrison Jr. and being able to accurately evaluate him, because his production and his talent do not match.
Well, I think it's important that they have another reliable wide receiver in that offense. Not necessarily a star, but somebody that the defense needs to concentrate on.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I'm looking at some of these builds. It's very interesting. Obviously, people do a lot of dual quarterback early builds. Dustin, myself, and Alex, we are. Oh, DFK, you have 4 wide receivers now, and so you're not going to be able to get a second quarterback because anyway. And Dustin said Kyler can only operate on boot action because he can't see the whole field. Jamie, Herbert versus May is a tough decision for me. Who do you like better for Dynasty? For Dynasty, I like May. I said last year May is what am I doing? May is Josh Allen light. And he has that profile. And I've been waiting for him to do it since he was at North Carolina, and he just needs some competent wide receivers out there, and he should be okay.
Yeah, and he's going to get a chance to show. I mean, he can scramble way better than people are giving him credit for.
Yeah, he's a
and
runner.
I think he showed that a little bit last season.
So what I was saying was that Dustin and Alex and I all waited for quarterbacks, and it's just interesting, kind of the thought process. I really like not blowing the bank on quarterbacks early because I feel like grabbing good wide receivers, productive wide receivers as early as I can make up for a lot of lost production if I have a quarterback injury or if I have a quarterback who doesn't run a lot like Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next pick is going to go by don't be afraid to win the first year. And what I mean by that is take your guys, don't worry about their age. I took Neighbors and Thomas not because they're second-year players. I took them because they were productive. They're top 10 wide receivers. Garrett Wilson has an opportunity, especially with Justin Fields, to repeat as a top 10 wide receiver. I don't need the of Jackson, Daniels, Allen, Hurts running quarterback game to be able to compete. Why is that not going on? Show it. Okay, it's not going to show there. You're not,
not what I wanted to do.
And Terminal Sarcasm, great name, says Jamie got both Herbert on my orphan, so I say both. Herbert for the next one. It depends on where your team is in terms of going for it. I think May has a huge year this year.
I think he could, as long as he's got pass catchers.
I feel like they're going to address that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to. It's just a shame last year that they went out and got Polk and Baker, who both of them I really liked their college tape. I didn't necessarily think they were going to be superstars or anything like that. But I liked them both enough to think that they were going to be, day one in a 3 wide receiver set, they would both be on the field. It turns out Baker just pretty much never made it onto the field. And Polk was just kind of meh, he was there sometimes, but
I was a Jalen McMillan truther. I watched a ton of Washington football. Number one, I'm on the West Coast. Number two, I'm a Cal fan, and so I watch a lot of Pac-12. And the other thing was kind of, doing my due diligence with Bo Nix and Michael Penix before they came out in 2024. There was a possibility they would come out in 2023. So in 2022, I watched a lot of their game film and stuff, and I saw a lot of problems. And then in 2023, they fixed those problems and became more complete quarterbacks to come out. in last year's draft. Well, through all that, I got to see a lot of Rome Odunze and Jalen McMillan in 2022.
Yep.
And that year, McMillan led Washington in yards and touchdowns over Odunze. So the following year, Odunze's stock in C2C was still higher. But I was looking at it like, don't pay the premium on that because you're going to get good production from Jalen McMillan. And then McMillan got hurt in his final year, and Polk stepped up. Well, Polk had been an afterthought in that offense, and I didn't have huge designs on him being successful. So I kind of steered away from him. Didn't take him. I think there's one dynasty team that I have where we drafted him, but it was a pick that was made by my co-owner, and so I thought I had huge hopes for Javon Baker. I thought he was going to be very, very good immediately.
I did too, because he's the jump ball king, or he seemed like he was going to be.
Yeah, and it kind of never worked out. You hear it's an attitude problem. You hear it's a production thing. So, we kind of have to wait and see how things kind of shake out over the next few years. But the talent is there. The talent is all in the metrics that he put together in college, and the talent is absolutely there.
Yeah, and I know that the coaching staff left a lot to be desired. But just I'm like, man, if you can't get on the field for a team like the Patriots last year, then something's wrong. Like you're doing something or not doing something. I don't know what it was, but I was very disappointed because I was extremely high on him coming out of college.
And Jamie says Javon Baker thought he was going to be good too. He said he was the best wide receiver in the class over Marvin Neighbors. You know what, Jamie? I don't want any wide receiver on my team that doesn't say he's the best.
Right.
And terminal sarcasm, how many weeks of film did the NFL get on May last year? There could be an advantage on the May side if they haven't gotten enough to see. What is the number of games that NFL defenses need to be able to accurately scout a player? It is a new offense this year. So I think as far as evaluating him as a quarterback talent, I think that's already written. But as far as what they're going to see scheme wise from the Patriots, they don't know. All right.
Oh, Pickens on the turn. That's an auto pick.
What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's.
Oh man, I was waiting to grab Kittle there as the weapons in San Francisco start to disappear.
Yeah, the trade of Deebo Samuel, that told me a lot about what Kittle was going to do. Dustin takes my wide receiver one of this class, Trey Harris.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I have him over McMillan, and I can't wait to see great things out of him. I came across some stats yesterday that absolutely blew my mind. Some analytics, and his yards per route run against man coverage is off the chart. His yards per route run against zone is like third in the class. So it doesn't matter what coverage he sees, he's going to be elite. And then on top of that, his first downs per route run was third in the class, behind a couple guys who don't have the other coordinating metrics to go along with that. He's going to smash.
So let me ask you this. Is he the number one receiver in the class, or is Travis Hunter the number one receiver in the class?
Travis Hunter is the best athlete in the class. He's the best wide in the class. But as far as production goes, the only rookie drafts that I'm going to take Travis Hunter in are the ones where I have IDP players.
Right.
Like my home league. I'm so excited.
Well, I don't even know what does Sleeper have him listed as.
That's a great question. I think he's listed as a wide receiver.
Because on MFL, I know he's listed as a wideout.
He's listed as a wide receiver here.
Hmm.
So I see Kittle having a huge year with Deebo Samuel gone. Brock Purdy is one of the top 2 or 3 most efficient quarterbacks per drop back in the NFL.
Yeah.
I see Kamara having a bounce back year. As long as they, can upgrade their offensive line and stay healthy, I think New Orleans should do better than they did last year. I like Derek Carr still. Josh Jacobs. So I took 4 old guys with my last 4 picks, and I'm not ashamed of it. Don't be afraid to win in year 1. Stack that bank and then build your team. Oh, here we go. NFL is going to draft and develop. Baker will be fine. Yeah, I think so too. Any day Travis Hunter wakes up and decides to play wide receiver, he's the best wide receiver in this class. I tend to agree.
Exactly.
All right. Any thoughts on your? Okay, so you went. Okay. I didn't really make it clear what the parameters were for everybody. So it's fine. They're nice. He's my QB1. There you go.
Good I love pick, Jackson.
I do too. I was really, really hoping that the Raiders were going to take him at the 106 until we got,
Well, I had 2 accidental picks on here, so I'm kind of medium on my team. But the guys that I wanted to draft, I guess I'm pleased with. I didn't mean to pick Gibbs, but there are certainly worse people to end up with.
Right.
In the first round. I would normally go wide out there.
Oh, it's my
but it probably would have been, our neighbors. So I don't love Kyler Murray. I got Christian McCaffrey pretty much where I expected to. I didn't want Chase Brown, even though I'm a Bengals fan. And then finish it out with a couple rookies and a tight end. I think that's completely deserving of where I took him.
Yeah, I like the Kraft and Jordan Love combination. We'll see what happens with that tight end room, whether he's whether it's a committee kind of thing or not.
Well, yeah, because the first year when he was hurt a lot, Musgrave got a lot more action, and then last year they switched roles.
Right.
And all of a sudden it was Musgrave that was hurt, but Kraft looked a lot better in that role. And that team is so interesting because you don't know who you can depend on from the wide receiver core. I really expected them to go out and sign a free agent or make a trade to get a true number 1. I thought DK Metcalf was going to go there, honestly. But I guess that's an upside for the tight end when you don't know. When there's no wide out that's head and shoulders above everyone else, then the tight end usually feeds.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Jamie. Actually, and Jamie, this won't come as a surprise to you, but I won the mock draft again. I can't help it. I win every mock draft. It's really uncanny. Kraft is his tight end. The rookies. What if Terrell Fan Jr.?
I'd say that's about right, Dustin. Tight end 5.
Draft capital in this NFL draft is going to be so important for tight ends and wide receivers. Not so much the running backs, just because of the depth of the class. You could have a guy who's the 15th running back off the board, and he will out athleticize an incumbent NFL running back.
Oh, that was you that took Kittle?
Yeah, that was me.
You dick.
Well, I mean, he's productive in fantasy. All right, let's go over some of these. We got Bro Cal. Starts with Lamar and Caleb Williams. I like the additions that the Bears made with Caleb Williams. Laporta, good pick. Bucky Irving. What was the running back situation? We're coming back. So he was running back 6. I don't know if I like that value. I think that's a little bit high, simply because of the presence of Rashad White. Yes, Bucky Irving can be productive. Are they going to use him the way he needs to? And Derrick Henry going in the 6th round, that's insane value.
Yeah.
Wide receivers are Flowers, Metcalf, and Jaden Reed.
I'm not impressed by the wide receivers.
No, and so Caleb Williams, we're wish casting a little bit. Lamar is Lamar, and that's totally fine. And then if Lamar and Henry do the same thing, repeat their performances last year, that could look pretty good. California 5, cool. Shout out Cali. Jane Daniels, Drake London, Michael Penix. Little wish casting again there with Michael Penix. Jonathan Taylor, Xavier Worthy, Chris Olave, Terry McLaurin, Dalton Kincaid. I like Olave in the 6th round. I think that's fantastic value. He has an opportunity to be a top 15 wide receiver. McLaurin as well. I think he got really good value on those wide receivers.
Yeah, McLaurin especially. I can't get past my personal feelings on Olave. I will never draft him.
Oh, that's
I'm just
juicy.
I'm not a fan, and he's one headache away from being out of this league. So I'm out.
All right, that's fair. We have our takes, and any league that we're in together, I'll go take on the burden for you.
Okay.
Right. And then Dalton Kincaid, I saw a very alarming stat this morning. He had 0 targets inside 5 yards last year.
Is that because Schultz got them all?
And Cook as well.
Yeah.
So they're looking for Cook some outside zone blocking on swing passes and stuff like that, instead of going up over the top to Kincaid. Lentes 443 starts with Chase, of course. Wide receiver 1A or 1B, whichever you like. Drake May, Jordan Love, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker. Chuba is a good RB3. I like that a lot. DJ Moore, I think, is going to have a huge year this year. And Njoku, if he can stay on the field and they get that quarterback situation figured out, he can do it. All right, we got hit the like button, please. Yes, thank you, Alex.
Hey,
Sally Cug goes with Josh Allen. That's a no-brainer. Nico, Barkley, and Hampton. Hampton, I think, is right away, so that's fine. Although he was taken ahead of McCaffrey, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs. So that might be a little bit early, but
yeah, I think the problem with these, well, not problem, but I think the thing with these kind of drafts is when people are taking a rookie, they're saying, well, I'm taking him assuming he's been drafted by a team that's going to feature him right, from the jump.
Right. Yeah, all of these things are going to change on April 25th.
Oh, yeah.
And then Colston Loveland, another rookie. Luther Burden, another rookie. Devontae Smith should have an okay year. I see him as a wide receiver 3, but wide receiver 2 is certainly not out of the question. And JJ McCarthy should have a big year too. I really liked JJ McCarthy coming out last year and wanted him to start right away, but he was hurt.
I wanted McCarthy in that round as my QB2, but he beat me to him.
Yeah. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, AJ Brown, Rashee Rice, Travion Henderson, TJ Hawkinson, Joe Mixon, Chris Godwin. I'm going to say, Jamie, I'm going to say you came in second in this draft. But I'm just saying that to pump you up. All right. But I do like a big Burrow year. He's going to be comfortable and happy. He just and also if they don't improve the defense much, he's going to be in shootouts again, where every game is going to be 40-40 or 41-40, 42-40. They're gonna have to score a lot to make up for how crappy their defense is. AJ Brown, obviously a wide receiver one. I would like Rashee Rice over Xavier Worthy, but not necessarily right now. In a couple years, maybe. Travion is another wish cast. I like him to the Raiders in the second round. And then Hawkinson is Hawkinson. Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is a wait and see. Let's see what the Texans do if they draft a running back that could unseat Mixon. I was kind of out on Mixon to start the year last year simply because of his age. But if
he just keeps going.
Yeah, he did get hurt though. He missed a couple games.
He always does. He always has his hip or his quad, one or the other.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them draft somebody that could challenge Mixon, but they'll say that from the start Mixon's going to be the guy, and then they'll let whoever it is try to work their way into a timeshare.
And maybe it won't be Dameon Pierce.
It's a little more what I expected Arizona to do with Trey Benson and John Connor last year.
Yeah, the fact that they signed James Conner to an extension.
They'll work him into a timeshare, and then he'll take over. It never came to fruition, but because Connor, for the first time, didn't get hurt.
Yeah, and then they signed him to an extension, which was wild.
Yeah.
All right, and then Godwin. Godwin is a so he's got the injury history, and he had the emergence of Jalen McMillan last year, who will be wide receiver, or will be in his second year. So yeah, and Jamie with a fantastic contribution in the comment section. It's hard to lose any draft when you watch Player Profiler Now Plus all the time. Yeah, I agree. All right, and Shia, shout out Shia LaBeouf. He is, man. How did I forget? He's known as the Equinox FF on Twitter. And
the Equinox FF.
Yeah, DA Equinox FF, and super good guy, good Dynasty commissioner, and good friend of the program. All right, he goes with Jalen Hurts, Trey McBride, CJ Stroud. That's a solid start, although I'm not as high as on CJ Stroud as other people. Tet McMillan, James Cook, Jordan Addison, and Jameson Williams. I think Jameson Williams and DJ Moore are my two picks for the two guys who are going to absolutely outplay their ADPs this year. And David Montgomery, as long as he can stay healthy, we know what he can do. And he cuts into your Jahmyr Gibbs pick.
How long is Montgomery going to do this?
Who knows?
You know what I mean? I seem to remember like 4 years ago thinking he was pretty much done, and then all of a sudden he just came back like wildfire.
Yeah. Let me find my cursor. It's so hard to navigate all of the things at once. There we go. Wanted JMO, but couldn't get him. And, I wanted Bowers. Sam wanted somebody else. Sam wanted Kittle. It's a draft. It happens.
It's a draft.
Unless you're playing Fast Draft. Go to fastdraft.app, play Fast Draft. This show is presented to you by Fast Draft. And get your teams, use code BOOTH, BOOTH for a $25 deposit match, and get your team. And you don't have to get sniped in our DFS games when the season comes around. Now in the best ball, you still have to draft, but you can set your rankings and make batch teams. So you have your rankings. Your team gets entered into a draft that there are 2 people drafting. The draft goes fast. It's a 20-second timer. Boom, boom, boom. 5 rounds, 6 rounds, you're done. And that's for the best ball. But in DFS, you just pick your players and you don't have to get sniped. So fast draft is a good way to do that.
Fast draft is great.
Fast draft. If you want to draft fast. If you like to draft and you like drafting fast, draft faster with fast draft.
Fast draft.
And all right, so let's do this. I'm going to go. Maybe some of you aren't familiar with what's going on in fast draft, so check this out.
I am proud to announce that Fast Draft now has an all-defense game called D-Up. That's right, fans of IDP finally have a real money best ball game that they can play. No more manually setting up leagues every time you want to do a draft. No. Now you can play for 10 grand, 2,000 to first. Could draft up to 30 teams, all defense. And the best part, balanced scoring, tackles for loss, pass breakups. It all factors in. Just draft 6 defensive players, top 4 into your lineup every week. It's that easy. It's so easy that this isn't just for IDP people. If you love the NFL, then you'll love this game. And for the first time with Fast Draft, you can sweat both sides of the ball on Sunday. So use your host's promo code to get a $25 deposit match, and you'll love this D-Up contest because it's about time we got one.
Matt Kelly, hard in the paint.
You know what does he know really though? Anyway,
yeah, the Podfather. He's what does he know? I love IDP fantasy, and so that game is right up my alley. Again, use code BOOTH for your deposit match. Dave Montgomery, 27 years old. I don't know his birth date, so I don't know if he's going to be playing this year at 28 or 27. But he conceivably, because it's a split backfield, he could conceivably, with health, do this for 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah, it's just amazing because I feel like he's 27 going on 40. Like David Montgomery is one of those guys I just feel like has been around forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was around when Frank Gore was playing, you know?
He was drafted in 2019, so that's this. He's going into his 7th season. And I mean, Frank Gore was around forever. But
decades.
2019 was a different era. It was an era where there were a lot more underclassmen drafted at running back. COVID changed things. NIL changed things. So you see a lot of older rookie running backs now. Yes. So you're not going to see a whole lot of, guys coming into the league at 2021. But,
yeah, you get
like
Braylon Allen's that are, I think he turned 21 in January.
Yeah.
This year. But then you also had like your Dylan Laube who could rent a car when he came to the NFL.
Yeah.
So there's both ends of the spectrum.
All right. I don't know why this just did that, and I could have done that with. All right, there we go. Okay, Team 7. Why is it not get? I'm slow to respond. All right, Patrick Mahomes, Marvin Harrison, Devon Achane, Trevor Lawrence, Tua as his quarterbacks, Achane, Kyron Williams as his running backs, and Waddle, Judy, and Harrison. I know this was an auto-drafted team, I think.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate Mahomes. I'm not big on Harrison. I like Achane, but he's an injury risk.
I don't like Achane.
I like Trevor. I mean, his points per game when he's on the field is elite, but
yeah.
He's got to stay on the field. Kyron Williams, I kind of have a problem taking him. Jalen Waddle, I have been out on for a couple years. I don't like Jerry Jeudy, and like you said about Olave, Tua's a headache away from retirement. So
yeah.
All right, we got Dynasty FK. going wide receiver heavy with Jefferson, Nakua, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, and T. Higgins. I like the confidence play in Cincinnati with giving T. Higgins the contract. That doesn't mean that he's going to stay on the field either. But if he can play a 17-game season, he's definitely in wide receiver 2 territory. But going Jefferson, Nakua, and JSN, that is just like bang, 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 top 5 wide receiver candidates.
Yeah.
I love Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm not a huge fan of the Cooper Kupp move, but I don't know how much it's going to eat into JSN. JSN had a 73% snap rate from the slot last year. And Sam Darnold was one of the better quarterbacks throwing to slot routes. So that's going to be a match made in heaven. Enough that they were like, we can move on from DK and Tyler Lockett and be okay. So I love that. Tyler Warren, he's likely to be Indy's tight end 1 immediately. That's where everybody has him mocked. Quinshon Judkins is a good play. And then Cam Ward and Justin Fields. Nice upside there at quarterback. It was a good draft by DFK.
Yeah, it was a very good draft. I don't buy into the Tyler Warren thing like you do, but if he gets the volume, I think he'll be productive. But yeah. I'm just not nearly as high on this tight end class as a lot of other people. If you look up and down the stats, it's a whole bunch of guys, with the exception of like Fannin, a whole bunch of guys who've done it for 1 year.
Right.
And I know that happens often in college football, especially at that position. But 1 year, and then everybody's like, this guy's the second coming. And then he gets to the NFL and they're like, okay, I guess that 1 year was it.
Yeah. Warren has been a lot of the times at tight end, it's less the production and more the athleticism. So you can have a guy that is involved in an offense that doesn't really throw to tight end a lot. And as long as he's athletic, and if you look at like his play metrics or per reception, per target metrics, that can tell you a lot more than total production.
I agree with that. And that's part of the reason I like Fannin too, because, physically he's off the chart.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my sleeper tight end picks is Oronde Gadsden Jr. And he's just a big wide receiver. And I like him a lot more than I like some of the other guys in the tight end class.
Right.
And Tyler Warren has been he's been good. Coming into the end of last season, in one of my dynasty leagues, I made a trade. I was towards the bottom, and it's a campus to Canton league. So I traded away James Conner to a team that was making a playoff run, and I got back Tyler Warren and Emeka Egbuka.
Geez.
So that they will be ascending to my dynasty.
Yeah, that's a huge splash.
Yeah, and he unfortunately did not win the ship. So
right.
All right. Tell us a little bit about your draft. I know that you weren't intending to take.
Yeah, I had two auto picks. I auto picked Gibbs. Like I said, you could do a whole lot worse. And I also auto picked Chase Brown, who I wasn't. I'm higher on Chase Brown now than I was. I'm a Bengals fan.
Okay.
I'm higher now than I was because I thought that they would bring somebody in and move Chase back into the role that he was playing before, which is, primarily third down passing back. I have, similar to a chain, I have trouble believing he can carry the load without eventually getting hurt. As many times as they want him to. So, but right now they look pretty happy with him. And he does fit the style of offense, that kind of West Coast style that the Bengals are running now, or the run and shoot, as it were. But yeah, so those two were autos, but I wanted to make sure that I got some of my favorite rookies in there. So I got Emeka, um, and I'm not crazy about Kyler Murray. Uh, honestly, I'm not nuts about this draft. If you can, if you can tell, I think my favorite player on here is Tyler Kraft. But,
Yeah.
but that's what mocks are for. I usually would go wide out at the beginning of a super flex. I did something differently this time, and told me that I shouldn't do that ever again.
Yeah, there's a there are definitely different ways to build. I feel like if you're in the top 3 or 4, I feel like that's a good time to start QB. If you're on the back end, if you're on the back half, I feel like building from the wide receiver spot is the way to go. If
Yeah,
you're
it's
in
value.
if you're in that middle 6, like you were on the end of that, if you're on that middle 6, I feel like you can pretty much go any way that the board kind of like lays itself out to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, you did the best with what you had. So
Yeah, I do like 10, 11, 12 because I do always like taking one of the first, usually in Superflex, one of the first 3 wide receivers off the board falls to me at 10 or 11. And then I turn right around and get another one that's in the next 3 or 4. So you're starting off with 2 wideouts from the top 10 on your first 2 picks. And that's a pretty great way to start.
yeah, and I like the running back room that you put together. Jamie, they're not for me to win. I just always do. All right, and I I don't know about the McCaffrey bounce back. That remains to be seen. Although they were very comfortable in allowing Jordan Mason to hit the road. I like Chase Brown. He's a little bit undersized at 210 pounds, 211 pounds, whatever he's at. But I like his ability between the tackles. I don't think that he's just a satellite back. We saw what he could do.
He's got a burst
in a 3-down roll, and he's very, very fast. I feel like he's a good analog to Jahmyr Gibbs as far as the kinds of things that they can put together. Now, he has 5th-round draft capital, which isn't great. If the Bengals decide to draft another running back and they go early with it, say 2nd or 3rd, then we might be looking at Chase Brown reverting to a committee role or a changeup.
Yeah. And to be honest, I was not. I don't know that I necessarily believe in the McCaffrey bounce back either, and that's not what I was looking for. It's just that in the 4th round, when I saw he was there, I considered that value.
Yeah.
And decided I would take it. If he plays 9 games out of 17, which is what I'm expecting, then I hope it's the last 9.
And there's one thing that we can kind of hang our hats on, especially in drafts, and that is positive. I just had the word in my head. Positive efficiency regression. People who have shown a career efficiency rate that have a down year from that tend to bounce back on the other side and regress positively back towards their career level. And McCaffrey dealt with injuries. If he can keep his tendonitis in check, I mean, he can be the Christian McCaffrey that we know he is. And going from, pretty much the consensus 101 last year to back end of the 4th round is fantastic value for that kind of upside. All right, we got Dustin sniping me on auto pick with Brock Bowers. I wanted to start my build with Brock Bowers. I think everybody should. I am absolutely all in on him as a 1st rounder in all formats. CeeDee Lamb, great pick right before you wanted him or had a chance to get him. Ladd McConkey, I'm a huge Ladd McConkey truther. Dak Prescott, I just got done talking about positive efficiency regression, and Dak Prescott is an absolute candidate for that. Previous top 5 finish, not quite as spectacular last year. He should be making the move back to what the level of play that we've seen. Baker Mayfield, great pick. Johnson, Caleb Johnson is an interesting case. We're gonna see where he lands and whether or not he is the incumbent or the starter right away. But I do like his upside. Trey Harris is my favorite wide receiver in the draft, not named Travis Hunter. And Tyrone Tracy, that's another draft capital candidate who could see his role usurped by the Giants taking somebody higher.
Definitely.
But I do love his profile, especially as a wide receiver transition.
Let me ask you this, since we talked about Dak twice now at length, something just occurred to me. Given the way the teams are right now, would you rather draft Dak Prescott or CJ Stroud?
Dak.
Me too.
Yeah, I am a Dak Prescott truther, and I'm going into all of my second year dynasties with Dak Prescott because I grabbed him in almost every league, every startup last year.
Right on.
And Justin agrees. He also thinks Tracy's going to crush because the Giants have too many needs to draft somebody. And he says buy Dak before it's too late.
Yeah, but what does Dustin know?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I went Malik, Brian Thomas Jr., Garrett Wilson. I think they're all definitely top 10 candidates. Malik Neighbors seems to be the only high-end talent that the Giants have. I like Tyrone Tracy, but Malik Neighbors is a top 10 wide receiver. Brian Thomas Jr., same. Garrett Wilson, he and Justin Fields are gonna have a nice relationship. We saw what Fields did with DJ Moore when he was in Chicago. As long as he's the one that's getting most of Justin Fields' targets, it's not going to matter that Justin Fields is a terrible in real life quarterback.
Right. Thomas scares me a little bit with this kind of capital, and I know it's not only what he's going for, but I'm also watching a lot of the trades people are doing to get their hands on him.
Yeah.
And it reminds me so much of what everybody did for CJ Stroud before last season. It's, 1 year does not a career make. I'm not saying Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't good coming in. I liked him a lot. I think I had him as wideout 5 in that class. But it makes me a little nervous that people are pinning so many hopes on him right now and leaving some other talent on the board and taking him over them. I mean, this is the same team where everybody wanted to bury the quarterback last year. And now all of a sudden, I guess the quarterback is fine because he's got BCJ.
Yeah, and I agree. I was not as high on Brian Thomas Jr. last year. As I was not very high. He managed to slip past me in almost every format. The analytics didn't support him. My model had huge scores for Malik Neighbors and Ladd McConkey. So those were the guys that I kind of stacked. Brian Thomas Jr. kind of slipped through the cracks for me. And what wound up happening is his usage changed from what he did at LSU to what he did at Jacksonville. He became more of an all-around wide receiver than the role that he had at LSU. And there were a lot of people that missed. And then I'm not sold on the Golden Boy either, but he was great with McCorkle Jones. For those of you who don't know, McCorkle is Mac Jones's first name.
I know McCorkle.
Yeah, and the fact that he was quarterback proof last year and was able to do what he did, have the production profile he did with Mac Jones, it says a lot to me. And I mean, I originally came from the world of baseball analysis, and there's an adage that once somebody does something, the possibility is there for them to do it again. So even if Thomas has a down year, he was wide receiver 6, and he absolutely can repeat that. So
yeah, and again, I just want to make it clear, I'm not slagging Thomas at all. As a matter of fact, I like him quite a bit. I just think it's funny that everybody wanted to bury Trevor Lawrence, and now that he's back, they're like, and so BTJ is to the moon. And I'm like, well, which one is it?
I'm going to shout out my Undroppables cohort, FF Coder. In his quarterback model, Trevor Lawrence is the highest scoring incoming quarterback rookie in the last like 10 years. So he still has a ceiling to reach, and Brian Thomas Jr. I think can help him get there. Dustin, smash that like button. If you like what we're doing right now, smash that like button. If you hate what we're doing right now, smash that like button.
Smash that like button and subscribe. Ring the little bell.
Yeah. We just hit 1,100 subscribers on Player Profiler now plus, and that's fantastic. We don't hate players, we hate ADPs. Yes. And I feel like Brian Thomas Jr. as a wide receiver 2, especially the fact that I got Garrett Wilson as a wide receiver 3. I think I don't hate that ADP. And especially in the back end, the drafting from the back half with third round reversal. Dustin says cursors are my bane today. I think he's talking about Trevor. Processing speed is slow. They're going to be running West Coast. Yes. And do it for the algorithm. Why do you think mock draft is in the title? Because that's smashing the algorithm at the moment over on YouTube.
Hashtag.
I went Jared Goff, my hometown boy, hashtag Nevada boys, shout out Nevada, California. Jared Goff, the second best football player born in Nevada. I'm not going to bet on him repeating his production from last year. I think that's a ceiling, and he's going to regress a little bit. That's fine with me. I think he's still going to be very, very productive. Josh Jacobs, he's got at least a year left. I'm willing to bet on that. Alvin Kamara, same thing. George Kittle, as a tight end in the 7th round, and it's Kittle. I'm totally okay with that. And
they got nobody else, and I'm convinced they're still trying to move Ayuk.
Yeah, they are. Their plan is to move on from Ayuk. Ricky Pearsall is not the answer, and Juwan Jennings will basically be the primary wide receiver in that offense, which isn't terrible, but Kittle is very productive. And then Geno Smith, what can I say about Geno Smith? He's my new hope. And then Jafar, Bijan, Genti, that's a pretty wicked combination to start off with a 2 RB build. Bo Nix and Brock Purdy, both of them are fantastic plays. Purdy again, top 3 in the last few years at fantasy points per drop back. And then Bo Nix finishes a top 10 quarterback. He's essentially, his stats look last year like Derek Carr, but with 400 yards rushing. So if he can repeat that, he will be up there in the top 12 again. Odunze looks to, I don't like him as wide receiver 1. However, over the course of a dynasty 5-year window, I think Odunze winds up in the next few years as in top 15 territory.
Absolutely.
And then Tyreek Hill, George Pickens, and then Mark Andrews. That's a good draft too. Good job, everybody.
That's a big boo for me on Pickens.
Don't like with Debo there.
I'll take DK in that offense. But yeah, it was a good draft across the board.
They also don't have a quarterback yet.
No, and you know what else I was thinking about? This is kind of interesting, just food for thought. Pittsburgh needs a running back, right? What if they somehow get their hands on Genty and then Arthur Smith treats him like he did Bijan Robinson?
God, that is a nightmare scenario.
Could you imagine?
Everyone out there with the 101 in your rookie drafts, that is your nightmare scenario. Genty to Pittsburgh. And then did someone say third and Juwan? Yeah, we had a term for that in Oakland / Vegas, and it was third and Renfro. Shout out Hunter Renfro. I hope you're doing okay, buddy. I hope your scrambled egg brains are not giving you too much trouble. All right, and that's gonna do it for us. Thank you, Sam, for hopping in.
Absolutely.
I put the link in the draft chat. Everybody had the opportunity to come in here and defend their picks and see if they could unseat me as the all-time mock draft champion. I've never lost a mock draft, and I don't intend to. Go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff. Follow us on Twitter, Player Profiler Now Plus, and you're either watching on YouTube or on Twitter. So if you're not subscribed on both, go ahead and do that. And Sam, if I don't talk to you, I mean, I'll see you in other mock drafts. I'll keep inviting you, and
Sure.
and we'll do a bunch of Scott Fishbowl stuff. Otherwise, I'll see you in Canton.
Yeah. See you
when we're both elected into the NFL Hall of Fame.
That's right.
For our performances in these mock drafts.
Right.
All right. And everybody else, go ahead and watch Player Profiler today on Friday, or Player Profiler News, whatever we're calling it now. Me and Chev will be breaking down NFL news. And for the Dynasty side, we will see you next Tuesday. DFK will be back. Thanks, everybody.
Buy your tickets for draft night out.
Yes, I still need to do that.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.